All right, Judson Powell, the fastest 15 minutes on the internet and on social media. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit all the buttons for me. Anyway, I want to talk about Tyler Perry today. Tyler Perry. And I've been sitting back kind of, like looking at the developments, all this stuff that's happening with this studio that he just bought or whatever. So, and I'm like, okay, yeah. But I got some reservations about this whole thing because sometimes, bigger is not always better. All right. And I just started thinking about it, and everybody is like telling me all this stuff. Oh, well, it's three times, it's three times as big. You could combine all of the major studios together, and it wouldn't equal the size of Tyler Perry's. And that sounds like a lot of overkill to me because that sounds like a black thing. Because I gotta have everything has to be bigger and better and all this kind of stuff, and I gotta show off. So I can't just wear jeans and a t-shirt. I gotta come out there with the crushed velvet and all of this kind of stuff. And it's really overkill. And let me tell you why. And I'm not being, and look, y'all can call me a hater. Y'all can say whatever you want, but I'm also, one thing that I am a businessman. All right. And I don't care what you say. All right. And sometimes, bigger is definitely not better. And let me explain why. Okay. In today's society and in today's business climate, the first thing is most of the people that run businesses, you know what they're doing right now? They're scaling down. All right. If you notice, like the Walmarts, closing stores and all of this kind of stuff, the biggest companies are technology based, not land based, not based on how many buildings I have or how big my property is and all of that. It's based on how do I deliver the content that I have to the customer without involving a lot of infrastructure. All right. That is the business plan that's going on right now. Okay. You don't believe me? Uber, biggest cab company in the world. Uber, even they even got vernacular for Uber now. Oh yeah, they Uber successful. This, that, and the other thing, because it popped up overnight. But how did it pop up overnight? Because there was there's no infrastructure. They don't own any cabs. They don't own any cars. They don't own anything. All they own is an app and a server and some computers. That's it. They don't own anything, but they are literally, the CEO of Uber is building a $70 billion house. I mean, not billion, but $1 million house. All right. Airbnb, largest real estate company in the world now. Guess what? They don't own a house. They don't sell houses. They don't do nothing. They got a website and an app. Right? They literally have a website and an app. That's what they have. All right. and people are renting houses through them on a daily basis. Amazon. And I know y'all, look, Amazon is big. I mean, they're making billions of dollars. They're making billions of dollars. And I'm saying with a B. Yes, billions of dollars. All right. And I'm just telling y'all, the only thing that they have is they have fulfillment centers, and then they have actually leased out everything. So that they don't have the overhead, and everything is done online through servers, through an app. All right. So even if you're producing content, all right, you already had a studio. What more do you need? Most stuff in movies is shot on locations anyway. It's not shot in studios anymore. That's an old paradigm. That's not even the new paradigm. So why? Okay, why would you? It's like 350 acres. And even if they gave it to you tax-free for a couple of years, what's going to eventually happen is you're going to have to end up paying property taxes on all of that land. For what? For what? Okay, so y'all may think, so let me give y'all a couple of old school examples. Okay, let's start off with MC Hammer. What? Stop. Hammer time. Right? Hammer time, y'all. Look, Hammer had one of the largest contracts at the time that he signed the contract. He had one of the largest contracts in the history of the entertainment industry, right? Literally a few years later, he was what? He was flat broke. And it wasn't because, look, it was not because he was not a great performer. It was not because he wasn't a great producer. It wasn't, that had nothing to do with it. What had to do with was that he was extravagant in his spending. All right. And there's been a lot of people that have been like that throughout the history of show business, right? Extravagant in your spending, not saving your money and not doing the right thing with it, right? That's always been one of the downfalls, because they never pay us what they're making. All right. And I don't care, even if you are Tyler Perry or whatever, you can. And then there's the law of diminishing returns. When your career starts, that's when you have all of your big hits and your money making hits. Right. After a while, the public loses interest in you. And I don't care who you are. After a while, things wane out. It's the law of diminishing returns. At some point, the returns that you have on what you put in are going to go lower. All right, not higher. And Tyler Perry is not at the point where his earnings are going to go higher. I mean, we have Madea does everything. Madea has done everything. What else is Madea going to do? Okay, great. You come up with another Madea. Okay. The only thing and the only sensical thing, the only thing that really makes sense is for him to create a platform and not have a platform shared with BET. That's dumb. I'm sorry, but it just, okay, he has 50-50 in this platform where they're showing his content, but even that is a ripoff because it's his content. What are you doing? Even Oprah was smart enough to get OWN TV, right? She has her own, it's like, but you build a studio so you can put your name on a sign riding down the freeway. That is overkill and it's stupid. I'm sorry, y'all. And then you say, oh well, we're gonna help out the lesbian and gay community, and we're gonna help out the homeless and the people that are being trafficked. Okay, that's not income. That's money. That's outlay. That's money. I run ministries. Trust me. Everybody that's walking, and my daddy used to say it all the time in the car dealerships. It's like, look. Everybody walking around on 2 feet is an expense. I don't care what you say. Everybody walking around on 2 feet is an expense. All right. Even in your family, if you run your family like that and you think, look, everybody in this house is an expense. I got 7 children. I know. All right. 7 children walking around on 2 feet. Guess what? They eat every day. They sleep every day. They need clothes every day. They need shoes every day. So you mean to tell me you're going to take all of those people and you're going to put them on 350 acres and then you're going to sit there and what? And I'm sorry. I love y'all Africans, descendants of Africans. I love you dearly. In fact, everything that I do is because of you. Guess what? But y'all don't give money. Y'all don't give money. And so, okay, so now example number 2, y'all thought I was just with Hammer. Okay, so Hammer built this $5 million house, right? Hammer builds at that time, a $5 million house was everything, right? The Uber guy is building a $70 million house. So just put it in perspective, right? Okay. So put that in perspective. So now, and I mean, come on, y'all. And then, so now he built a $5 million house back in the day, right? That was like big time back in the 80s, right? It's like, whoa, and they was having parties and everything. I got invited to a party up there, but I'm just telling you, and a few years later, it was gone. Poof, right? Because the powers that be, you cannot, and I don't care what people say. It's like, they feel some kind of way. It's just like when Michael Jackson got ready to break Elvis's records, for the most records sold of all time and all that kind of stuff. They came after Michael Jackson, y'all. They didn't just let him just sit there. Look at Bill Cosby. Take the examples. Y'all, y'all don't, you gotta have some smarts about this stuff, right? You can't throw stuff up in people's face. You on social media, on the internet. Oh yeah, my studio is bigger than all of the major motion picture companies put together. Now you don't think for 1 minute that's an ego game. It's show business, y'all. It's show business. Okay. Number two. Okay. So now give you another example. Evander Holyfield, right? At one time, he had the biggest house in the history of Georgia, right? Think he had the biggest house in the history of Georgia. All that land. Look, the bill just to cut the grass was $100,000 a month. Just to cut the grass, $100,000 a month to keep the upkeep on the lawns and all that kind of stuff. You have to have a base of income. All the businesses now are technology based. They are not brick and mortar. They are not infrastructure. People are not, that's not how you do it. What would have been better is if he would have created another platform, a BET, partner with, I'm not saying he can't still do it, but that's the smarter thing to do, because then all of that pay-per-view money, just like BET gonna get half of that pay-per-view money, and you gonna tell me that, and they don't deserve it. They don't even deserve it. What did they do? BET ain't black owned. All they got is yo black people going there and watching this junk on their platform. That's where the money is. The money is in distribution and in platforms. You don't, put a movie theater in every city. Put do something. If you're going to do brick and mortar, put a movie theater in every city. Team up with somebody and create a string of black theaters. Places where you can go and show the movies and have like a different paradigm for how you watch and you view movies. See, that's the kind of ideas and those are the kinds of things that can make you money in this economy and in this society. But to sit up there and just say, okay, now I got this big place where I can make movies, but you always had a place you can make movies. Not to mention most movies are shot on locations anyway. And all of the movies are going to technology. Everything, all of this stuff now is computer generated. It's computer generated. Like you take a movie like, what's that movie? Avatar. Okay, take that. Or even some of the simpler movies, like the ones that, when Eddie Murphy was doing those movies about the clumps, those things were computer animated, computer generated stuff. There's a big green screen behind him in there. Will Smith told you what the formula was. Will Smith made a video talking about the formula and how him and his crew came up with the formula for his success. The fact that there was always computer animation and computer generation, coming out of the sky, doing this, doing that. Very few movies are actually successful. And like I said, the law of diminishing returns. How many more Madea movies can you make? How many more feel-good movies can you make? I mean, it's just not. And then now, all of a sudden, you have these tremendous expenses. Just like I said, Evander Holyfield, $100,000 a month just to pay, for the grooming of the lawns and the manicuring of the lawns. That's it. But you can't take on 350 acres or whatever it is. And that's money. That's straight money. And if it doesn't have any crops or something growing out of it, even Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said, look, when he started buying land, do you realize that Warren Buffett is one of the biggest farmers in the world? Because him and Ted Turner, they bought all of this land up, but guess what they started doing with it? They started farming on it. You think, oh, well, they own, television stations and radio stations and blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is they got a steady source of income and money coming in off of that money. It's like, it's not just land. They're growing crops. They're raising animals, chickens and pigs and cows. So, so we got to stop, and I just don't want it to be like a dangerous, like an infection, like for everybody, because to me, it's just overkill. And I may be a hater, but I'm also a businessman too. And I just look at things from the standpoint of some things are unnecessary, because you can make just as much money without spending that kind of money and keep that money in your pocket and be able to help more people, even though he says he's going to help people. We'll see. Hit like, hit subscribe. I gotta go. I love you. Hit the love button.